Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 489. I'm Brian Cohen from Best Page Forward, joined by Claire Taylor from FFS Media. Claire, people can still go to liberatedwriter.com, get ready for October. We're moving it. We're gonna be in September soon, and that is crazy, but it means it will start cooling off in Texas soon, which will be nice. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I love that we're almost to September, which is almost October.
Hey, that seems like a very optimistic way of looking at it. I like that.
Yeah, it'll be here before I know it. As long as
Yeah.
I stay out of the direct sun and don't, shrivel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, when we were in Mexico a couple weeks ago, saw a lot of iguanas trying to avoid the heat, but also like hang out in the heat a little bit. And there was this one Mayan ruin we went to, the Scorpion's Temple, and there was like this iguana just sitting outside, getting wind from the beach, just like, I own this temple. You humans do whatever you want. You just need to get to a beach, Claire.
Yeah, I mean, there are some longtime Austinites who look a little like iguanas at this point from the sun, so.
Oh, the takeover of the iguana people of Austin, Texas. Oh my goodness. Well, Claire, I know we have a lot to cover. I'm good to just get right into it. What do you think?
Let's do it. Swoop
All right.
in.
Swoop in. Swoop is the mascot for the Eagles. Swoop. Sorry, we don't need to talk about the Eagles. All right, question of the week was, how do you feel like you've expanded your comfort zone in publishing in the last 5 years or during your career, shorter than 5 years? Emily Mitchell said, I published my first book just under 5 years ago, so all the things. I've tried lots of things to see what worked for me in my books, and I have more answers than I did 5 years ago. Well, I think that's a positive direction, Emily.
Oh, absolutely. Jeffries Brooks said, I started writing romantasy because that's what I love reading. I was super intimidated because there aren't too many male authors doing well in this subgenre. So I'm doing what I can, building a readership and creating content within that community. I have run into some who simply won't read romantasy books by men, but the majority have been welcoming.
Awesome. That's awesome. You take a risk, you try, you see what happens. I think that's great. And Stan Scrabbit said, published more books and honed the processes, lots of learning, learned more about advertising and seeing positive gains. So far, a rewarding experience, getting ready to push another book out the door. I love that, Stan. That's good. It's a very positive attitude. I think everybody took this prompt quite well, Claire.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad that those who responded seem to be in a better place than they were 5 years ago. That's all you can ask for, really.
Yeah, well, what's the quote goes, I've heard it with 3 years, but you overestimate what you can do in 1 year and you underestimate what you can do in 3 or 5 years. So that's awesome. Yay. Mm-hmm. You can answer future questions of the week at sellmorebookshow.com or in the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. We've got a top story that we're both excited to talk about. Claire, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Good. The caffeine buzz is still happening. Okay. Certifiable humanity. AI is everywhere these days, and many authors are very concerned that they're going to lose sales to low-quality books written by generative AI tools like ChatGPT today and later, to books that may be indistinguishable from the works of humans later on. Quote, it is a truth universally acknowledged that where there is an issue of concern for writers, someone will find a way to monetize it, says Victoria Strauss in her latest post on Writer Beware. 2 services have recently appeared hoping to address the fears of authors and readers. The first, the Authenticity Initiative, provides an official seal for $50 per year to authors who pledged not to use AI-generated content in their work. But to what degree a certification based on a pledge is of value to readers remains to be seen. Second service, Authortegrity, is the upcoming service of Demanza's Damon Freeman. Authortegrity hasn't launched yet, but relies ironically on an AI-powered text analysis followed by human verification. If the book passes the test, the result will be a certification of human authorship to include with your book. Quote, it was probably inevitable that enterprising people would come up with the idea of a service to certify or authenticate human authorship and invite creators to buy into it, says Strauss. Since it may never be possible to accurately detect AI authorship, the value of these certifications in readers' eyes is still to be determined. Claire, am I right that you had an almost spit take at author integrity? As well as maybe the authenticity initiative. You and I don't really care about this issue. We talked about it off the call. We don't really care about this issue. I mean, I'm not saying either of these are scammy in nature. Victoria does post about scams. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's obviously the possibility that this sort of thing could be gamed and that people could be really just trying to get a lot of money by preying on people's fears that readers will think their books are AI and not look at them anymore. So there's that aspect of the issue I care about. I don't want anyone to be scammed. So
yes, and I do care about AI issues. I think that this is something we should all be watching and learning more about on both sides. But anyone who thinks they have found the exact moral position on this yet is just a little bit beyond what I can deal with, because there is so much we don't know. There is so much that still needs to be regulated. There are so many questions, and there is probably no pure moral answer here. So whatever your position is, I just recommend that everyone just grasps it lightly, right?
Yeah.
Be open to learning more and changing that position. And part of doing that is not lashing out at other people for it, not starting these sort of hunts for people who are using AI in some way that you, the authority on all things AI, disapprove of. So I have positions on AI. What part of it I think is, sketchy. What part I think is pretty legit and can be, a real useful tool for equity. But it doesn't matter what I think about it, because the only person who it matters to is me, because I'm going to be making decisions based on that. So when I see these tools like author integrity, which anyone who's seen South Park is going to laugh at, Integrity Farms. I hope Damon has seen South Park in the recent years, because I really hope that this is from that, because that's pretty awesome. But I don't think that these solve the problem, or even anywhere close to solving the problems that we're facing, because they are such complicated problems. They're such complicated problems.
Right.
And so the idea that we're going to start sorting people in this way, this early on, is not solving the problem. It's trying to create certainty, and it's trying to create camps. And what camp are you in? And, I just don't think that that's productive. And I think that that's unproductive just on an individual level. Because once you place yourself in a camp, you're no longer grasping that lightly, your position lightly. You are entrenched. And
Right.
then that makes you unable to learn more information and change your position. It's much harder once you've put a seal on your book or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Also, we don't have the technology to accurately tell if something is AI or not.
We really don't.
We don't
really
have
don't.
that. So it's all based on fiction. And when we really double down this hard on it to try and be like, you're AI, you're not AI, this has AI, this doesn't, and then we don't have clear methods of defining that, we are going to be ruining people's careers because we're unhappy with our career, not because they did anything necessarily wrong. We're going to be ruining people's entire careers for no, no reputable reason.
Right.
So I just think we do not have the systems even set up to start implementing something like, AI certification. So I just, it makes me so uncomfortable that our response to this very complicated problem is to grossly oversimplify it and sort into camps. We've tried that. Does that work? No. We've tried that in a lot of arenas. So I'm laughing because, laugh so you don't cry. But I really find this worrisome. And the I don't care part of it is just, I don't care what other people are doing. And I don't care to be involved in this really vitriolic debate in the community. I think that it completely lacks any sort of grace for each other. And that's gross to me. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a little while back, the Authors Guild said it was the Writers Guild said, we have a strong position on this. We're drawing up things about not only having people in here who don't use AI. And then they, a week later said, we have a class next week on how to use AI tools to improve your writing process. And so even sometimes within organizations themselves, the as I saw it written, the right hand and the left hand don't even know what they're doing apart from each other. The best
person to decide what is the best thing for your business is you. That's kind of it. And I think that we've talked about so many ways to stay human and make yourself relevant with your readers, that's really what your focus can be on, because you can control that. You can't control all this other stuff. If I decided that I wanted to have more control over this, I would need to go to law school.
Yep.
I would need to get some sort of technical education. I would need to do all these things before I'm not just trying to have an opinion for the sake of having a strong opinion. I think most people are in the same boat with me on that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Claire, we're into the hot potatoes of wisdom here. Will human written certifications become an important part of the book industry?
I do think that human written certifications will become an important part of the book industry. I don't think that they make any sense at this point. I don't think that they're legit at this point. I think they are playing on people's fear and trying to sort people into clear camps and trying to give people an air of moral superiority over other people. So yeah, absolutely. They're going to become a part of the book industry because some people are more interested in that than actually conducting their business. So yeah, I think it will be. You will not see me with any sort of certification. I don't use AI for my process because I just enjoy the process, Yeah. But that's no hate to people who need it for whatever reason or simply want to use it.
Right.
But I will not be seeking a human written certification. And you know what? There may come a time where I think I look at the AI, capabilities and I think, oh man, this really would help inspire my creativity. I've played around with Chat GPT. It's whatever. But so I just think, you do yourself a great service to give yourself the possibility of movement of your moral position on this very complicated subject.
Makes sense.
All right, Brian, how much does the typical reader care about AI versus the typical author?
So, lost in so much of this is how does a reader care about AI? And I think it's the same as with most. There's probably a very vocal minority of people of readers who care and will die on that hill because people love dying on hills. But the vast majority is just looking for something to read. And so I think most people won't care. Some people will care, and a very vocal minority can get a policy at places like Amazon or Audible or whatever to be enacted. But I don't think the typical reader cares. And as authors, we need to think about what do our readers think, because what do readers think matters a whole lot more than what some angry author thinks.
Yeah, I think that's very true. If you're writing fiction, you're writing it for readers, not other fiction writers.
Exactly. Exactly. So, after this lightning rod of a topic, we've got pew, 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 pew. Like how yours is like a 6-shooter. Pew, pew, pew.
That's how we lightning down in Texas.
Oh, yeah, we got, I don't know what accent I was about to do. All right. So, Claire, Jane Friedman, a very awesome teacher and educator in publishing, recently found multiple books had been published using her name. What course of action should an author take if they discover someone is publishing books designed to look like theirs on Amazon?
Okay, I actually have been following this story because I am just so glad that we have someone as smart and as savvy as Jane Friedman leading the exploration on this topic of what do you do if you discover that someone is publishing books that are supposed to look like yours under your name on Amazon. Now, obviously, I don't think that this should be happening to her, right? I wish this was not happening to her. And I'm sure that it's happening to other authors as well. And Jane, so like, what do you do if this happens to you? My suggestion is just do whatever Jane does, frankly. She's so knowledgeable on this subject, both in, traditional publishing, indie publishing. She does hot sheet. She's getting the word out there. She's on all kinds of news channels, being interviewed. It's fantastic to see the right person for the moment, in that, sort of taking the helm there. I think you talk to Amazon, you do what you can. Mm-hmm. And maybe put a little serenity prayer on your desk, because it's gonna be tricky, Yeah. It's gonna be tricky, and I think that probably there will be more awareness to it if it happens to you, now that Jane has been bringing a lot of awareness to this. I think it's a bad look for Amazon, and so I think they may be more responsive to it in the future if you tell them this is happening. So right. Yeah, I'm just very grateful that she has been taking such responsibility for this and really getting it out there and getting publicity for it.
Love it. Love it.
All right, Brian. How does the existence of, AI. How does the existence of AI in the writing process change how an author should market themselves and or their books?
So AI exists. How does this factor into the marketing process? It always comes back to being a human. I think everyone's got to be human, and I love, this is something I've been thinking about because the book I'm working on going into next year, thinking about connecting with readers and new readers in a new genre. How do I do it? I'm going to be doing what I like to do as a human, which is I like to invite people to live things where I can talk to them on a video call so that they see me, they see the kind of person that I am, and then they might want to buy books from me. I think too few people, and I know not everyone's a video person, but too few people are willing to hop on a call and say, hey, I've got a book launch this day. Come hang out with me. We're going to party. I don't think enough people do that. I think people want to be as distant from the process as possible. And that is more machine-like in a way. And so I think that we need to look for ways to bring more humanity to the process. Whether or not you like AI in your writing process, humanity needs to be a part of your marketing process.
Yeah, I agree. Even just like an author note in the back of the book, right?
Any little thing that's you. Any little thing that's you. Absolutely. So, Claire, we're pivoting into businessy talk here. Should authors have liability insurance for their book business?
Okay, so I am not a lawyer. This
What?
seems like a
Oh
lot. I know. Sorry, Dad, I'm not a lawyer. Okay. So, should you have liability insurance for your book business? I think this is going to be up to you. It is an expense. I don't know that it's always necessary. It might be a good idea if you're a person who loves insurance, right? Some people like to have insurance, and this is just like a personality. Some people have a harder time functioning if they don't have insurance for all the things. Some people couldn't care less about insurance, don't even insure their home or whatever. But
Right.
so it could be, but you also have other options to protect yourself, like an LLC. So that is a limited liability company. And at least in the state of Texas, when you do that, if someone tries to sue my business, they can take what my business has, but they can't take my personal assets. So functioning as an LLC protects me in that way. And, if someone takes all your business stuff, it's not the end of the world. You can rebuild, whatever. So I think that you can create other safety measures that keep you safe, keep your home safe, that, aren't necessarily paying into an insurance pot every month, especially if you just write something. If you just write fiction, it's very unlikely that you'll get sued, except, maybe some people will say plagiarism or whatever. Just don't plagiarize people, and try and keep your hands clean of this AI debate so you don't make those kinds of enemies.
Love it. Yep. Makes sense.
All right, Brian, when should an author create a legal company for their writing business?
So when authors are thinking about whether or not they should be a business, I think you have to realize that it's not that expensive to create a business. Some states it's under $100, some states it's a few $100. You create a business, and as Claire mentioned earlier, having a limited liability company so that you're a little bit more protected. There is something about being a legit business that does make you feel like a real author. And so I think that if you've written a book and you're thinking about writing more, it might be time, because there are lots of tax benefits, especially, and once again, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer, but there are certain tax designations like LLC with an S Corp designation that allow you to do things with your business income that you might not have been able to do if it was just mushed up together with your personal income. And so when it's kept separate, you're a little safer. So I would say set aside a little bit of money each year to put towards business, the expense of having an official business, because I think it will lead you to feeling more legit.
I love that. Yeah. The emotional benefit should not be overlooked.
Exactly. That's like my business model. So Claire, to end us here with the final lightning round question, Kickstarter has led to some big changes in the publishing industry. Do you think it will continue to be a part of your own process?
I do see Kickstarter continuing to be a part of my business for a while. It's a tactic. It's not a strategy. It's a tactic that supports the strategy. So I'm not going to be upset if it becomes less effective, which most tactics, I'm saying most just because I think it's all, but I haven't gone through every possibility, but most tactics become ineffective over time. So I will continue to launch things on Kickstarter because I think it's a great first step, and I think that it's fun for me. It's exciting. It's a short project with a clear beginning and a clear end, and I am optimizing my process so that it gets easier every time and I stop making the same mistakes. So yeah, I think that it will be. I think that it's a great way to build, stronger relationships with readers.
Very nice. Yeah, no, absolutely agreed. Claire, we need a question of the week. I would guess that you don't want to talk about AI. That's my guess.
You would guess correctly, Brian. It's
there
like
we
you know
go.
me. It's like you heard me complaining before the show.
It's almost like I did. So is there anything you do want to talk about then? We did talk about piracy. We talked about businessy stuff like legal companies, talked about Kickstarter. What are your thoughts? South Park was mentioned. No.
Yeah, let's just talk about South Park. What's your favorite South Park episode, everyone?
Love it. Love it.
I I would like to do a question that's kind of tangential.
Sure.
Like, something about what are some parts of the industry that stress you out because they're outside of your control that you can spend less time worrying about?
I like that. I mean, I like that as is. What are some parts of the publishing industry that stress you out, that are out of your control, and that you might want to stop worrying about? I like it.
Okay. We
I
did
like
it.
We did it. Victory! We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We did it.
Yeah.
Kermit arms. So awesome. You can answer that question of the week over at sellmorebookshow.com or over at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. Claire, other than Liberated Writer course in October, which is at liberatedwriter.com, anything else you want to let folks know about?
Well, I always have that 5-day free course that people can jump on at ffs.media/5day, and that's the number 5 and then day. If you go there, you can take that 5-day course, and that is a great way to sort of introduce yourself to the kind of help that I like to give authors.
Love it. Love it. While we're giving links, you can sign up for the next challenge, which is not till October, but hey, what the heck? We're talking about October anyway. AuthorsAdvertise.com. I'm going to break a news story here.
What?
We are going to increase the price of Ad School next year. So the October challenge will be one of the last times to get it at the 2023 prices. Just so you know.
Ooh.
Breaking news!
At the end of the show.
At the end of the show. Were you still paying attention? Awesome. Well, for Claire, I'm Brian. Have a great week of book selling, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week for episode 490. Bye!
Bye!